Hey guys, I had a great week here. A lot of good interviews on the Jenny McCarthy Show. We had Hauser from Yellowstone, Sherri Shepherd, Luann. The list goes on and on. But this is the time that I shared this story about this horrific makeup artist I had.
There are no bad stories about you, Jenny.
Oh, thanks, David. That's really nice of you to say that. Mm-hmm.
No, it's true. Like, you are so nice, genuinely nice to people. I can't imagine that you've had a bad interaction. And I won't blow smoke.
No, the only one was when that makeup artist smacked me in the face, but it was her fault.
What?
I was new. It was not that new on the scene. I was, remember Gen X, the book Gen X, the very first book out, 1997, I'll say. The makeup artist, they're like, you have to trust us on our makeup artist. I'm like, all right. And this woman came in from London. It was like her first week there. And she's like, I just got done working with supermodels. And I'm like, I'm sorry, or yay? I'm not sure. Is she disappointed that she's got to work on this mug now? Obviously she was. And on set, she'd come up to me in her English accent and say, stop doing this to your lips. So when I get lip gloss on my lips, I kind of have a stim. I'm like, me. I like when they get gluey and stick together. And I'm like, me. It's just fun. Especially when you're standing in a fucking bikini 8 hours a day. What else are you going to do? You can't touch your hair, you can't touch your body, you can't touch anything. So I'm like, me. And then I did it again. She was like, stop it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I totally forgot. And then, of course, I did it again and a whack. And she smacked me across the face.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. What happened? Did somebody stop it? Like, tell her?
Powering off.
No one.
Powering off.
I think I remember telling the story because then the next day I went to a photo shoot for a cover of a magazine and she showed up there. And I was like, no. Yeah. Where she proceeded to put Vaseline on my face instead of foundation. I'm not kidding. We'd wind up reshooting the magazine a different day. So like, that makeup artist must have hated you. I'm like, yes, I had her banned after that one shoot and you rehired her. Somebody else hired her. I mean, what are the odds of that? Yeah. She's the one that needs the do more.
Is that a makeup artist that you could pick out in a lineup? Like, have you seen her work with other people? Have you heard her name come up?
Never. I never saw her again. She was out here for like a week to do New York Runway Week or whatever, and then came out to do some LA things and then was going back. So someone probably got her for free. That's what winds up happening. You know what I mean? They save money. Someone wants the experience and puts it on their resume. So you get the $50, girl that has the brushes with pink eye on them. That's what you get. It's no Hollywood glam unless you're Julia Roberts or someone like that.
Hey, it's Nicole from the show. So if you listen, you know Jenny is a huge fan of Yellowstone. So it was a really big deal when we had Hauser on the show. Here he is telling Jenny all about his approach to his character, Rip Wheeler.
You guys have heard me talk about this amazing show called Yellowstone, Sunday nights at 9:00 on the Paramount Network. He is one of, hands down, my favorite characters, not only on the show, but on television. He is fucking awesome. Hauser, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jenny. Thank you.
You're so good as Rip. You're so good. It must be so fun to play this character.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those dream roles that you kind of wait a career for. And, I've been waiting for something this special, and Taylor Sheridan has written just a hell of a character, and the acting, across the board is great. And it's been a pleasure, to do something like this.
And the character is so dreamy when women watch it because you've got all the macho, tough guy, but the heart, a soft heart. And that's what's got to be so great to play. It's amazing what you've done with this character. How did you make the choice to play him the way you did, not only acting wise, but physically?
Yeah. When I first got the role, as you know, Kelly's a ginger and I'm ginger as well. So it would look like we were brother and sister. So we kind of had to make sure that wasn't the case. And he was like, I don't want to do it to her, but this is Taylor and John. They said, what do you think about dyeing your hair? Because I've dyed it for other stuff that I've done. And they like that look. And it's kind of a harder look, your eyes pop a little bit more. But And then I think this the physicality. I mean, I just rode horses every day, all day long until my legs were about to fall off. And that just gets you strong, you know? And so you turn into the kind of, you know, and then you eat kind of what cowboys eat, which is just rice, beans, and, you know, steak. And your body just ends up changing into something that it wasn't before, you know? And Taylor was really intent on putting me on every saddle, every kind of discipline, as far as like reining, cutting, roping. And so I had to learn, you know, kind of on the fly. And that was the best thing I think I did. It really got my head right to what what I wanted to be and what I needed to be for the show.
Has there been any accidents at all? Because there's a lot of physical scenes.
I've flown off a horse once, but I landed on my feet. I don't know how, but that's really it. It's the only time. And I was cutting, you know, and a cow stopped right in front of the horse and I just spun off of it. But I think, knock on wood, I mean, there's been a lot of close calls. I'm not going to lie, but nothing bad. Thank God.
God, that's so
I'm
scary.
too old to fall off a horse right now.
No
I'm
shit.
45. You know what I mean? That hurts now.
It's Michelle. I'm back. I know. You're welcome. Listen, if you like that Jenny McCarthy, you're going to love her talking to Sherri Shepherd. Those two girls can talk, and it's always funny, especially about parenting. And during the pandemic, parenting has gotten real hard, especially if they're a 16-year-old boy, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. It's just about hugs. Anyway, listen, watch this clip, laugh your butt off, and then subscribe to the Jenny McCarthy Show.
Sherri is joining the cast of Dish Nation on August 20th. And then season 2 of her Netflix show, Mr. Iglesias, is streaming right now. And then also Sherri just started her podcast, Two Funny Mamas. How's Jeffrey doing it with COVID? Because I know that it's been kind of crazy here.
Jeffrey he stays in his room a lot. That's the one great thing. I have a 15-year-old, so he's kind of self-sufficient. But the bad thing about it, Jenny, is he's 15 and he's not my running buddy anymore. Like, you know, when they wanted to just be attached to your hip and always they wanted to hug you, he doesn't want to hug. You know, he'll give me a hug at nighttime, but he doesn't want to hang with me. And so a lot of times it's like I'm in quarantine by myself.
Yes.
Because I'll go, hey, do you want to go swimming? He's like, no, thanks. I'm playing, Fortnite or WWE. I go, or do you want to just like make a run with? You want to walk the dogs? And he's like, why we gotta walk the dog? Then he complains the whole time. Takes away my joy. Like, I love walking my dogs and just walking. And why do we have to walk? Oh my God, he pooped. I'm not picking that up. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to walk these dogs and have so much fun. I swear to gosh, we're going to have fun.
Do you know the last time I was allowed to hug Bob, I have to call him Bob from now on because he doesn't want his name mentioned, was like 3 years ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it's really hard. I can't even go like this in the air. If I go in the air, it's dead. I get that off with your head signal.
Oh my gosh. He told me I call him Babe all the time. And he goes, don't call me that. My name is not Babe. It's Jeffrey. Don't call me that. And I'm like, but Babe. So I go, hey, Babe. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I'm like in an abused relationship with my son. He walks in the kitchen sometimes and he goes, oh, you're still here. Like, where the heck am I supposed to be? We're in quarantine, Jeffrey. I feel like it literally is an abused relationship because he comes in and I'm like, can I just get some love? Can I get a hug from you or something?
Oh my God, Sherri.
His friends, that's it. And I'm sad so much. And he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, because you never touch me. You don't say, and he told me the other day I was exercising. He's like, I don't think it's going to work. And I'm like, that just really hurt my feelings. And he's like, what are you crying for?
That's a whole stand-up routine, honestly, the middle schooler the high schooler that abuses you.
Hey, it's Nicole. I'm back. So earlier this week, we missed a show because Jenny had lost power in her home studio because of a tornado in her town. So here she is reliving her Twister experience.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, guys. I survived the Midwest tornado. I know.
Hooray!
What a doozy that was. I mean, I like my storms, and you know how much I love watching the Weather Channel and the tornado shows. But when everyone in the house, which is all 10 of us, because I've got a million teenagers that have been living with us, phone goes off at the same time with that, and then the neighborhood sirens go off. even though I love seeing that on TV, it's a different perspective when you're in it. And then I'm like, we all run to the basement, and I'm Googling how to survive a tornado, and it's saying, go to your basement. If you don't have a basement, go to the bathroom. And I felt really bad for the last thing because it said, if you're in a trailer, get out. The worst place you can be because the air underneath it. And then after that, they were like 50-mile-an-hour, winds. And I watched the fast, I told everyone to stay down here, but then I went over to the window to watch some of it. I couldn't help it. And it was quite fascinating to watch the patio furniture swirl in a tornado-like fashion, get about 40 feet in air and blow over to the next people's yard. So that was fun. And then this morning, it looked like you couldn't tell like kind of where our driveway was or anything that was cement. It was just tree branches, leaves, trees, and other people's patio furniture.
Oh,
Did someone from your house, because I doubt it was you, did someone from your house go and get your patio furniture back?
That's a really good question. Unless they took me seriously when I said, holy shit, our fucking patio furniture just blew away, everyone went, no way. And I said, hated it anyway. So that could have deterred anyone from going back there.
Thank you, Mother Nature.
hey, congrats. I'm Michelle, and I'm back to tell you that I can't tell you the difference between astrology, astronomy, or pastrami sandwiches. But I can tell you that Aliza Kelly can tell you all about it. And boy, she really put in a good thing about 2020 in that we shouldn't be living it.
In terms of astrology, could you see COVID coming when you're doing charts on people, or is that crazy?
Okay, so 2020. So when I first started working with astrology many years ago, I started to notice that a lot of the literature surrounding, like astrologers in the 70s and the 80s that were sort of going decade by decade, the books would end in 2019. And there was this sort of ominous, 2020 is really like TBD because the astrology of 2020 is so unprecedented. It's so unparalleled. So, we started inching our way towards 2020 to the 2016 election happened, this and that. And clearly the context by the end of 2019 showed that 2020, we have an election this year at the very least, something was bound to happen that was going to be monumental. So at the very end of 2019, I started to share some of my thoughts about how crazy 2020 was going to be. I was not saying pandemic, it's going to be COVID, because obviously what context would I have for that?
Totally.
But I was saying this is, the last time that we have seen this type of astrology was 500 years ago. So we kind of have to go back in time to the 1500s if we really want to understand what we're up against in 2020. And that's I have the receipts for that. So then, when I started to hear about COVID as it started to scale and it started to seem like it was encroaching more and more, it just became very abundantly clear that this was the 2020 that my, grandparent astrologers were predicting.
Hi, it's Nicole. You can follow me on Instagram at Nicole Zarzecki. And also you can follow the Jenny McCarthy Show on Instagram. We post tons of fun new videos, so check it out. Earlier this week, we had 90 Day Fiancé's Tania and Syngin on the show, which I was personally super excited about. And here we have Syngin telling Jenny all about what other 90-day couples he texts with.
Are you friends and you text anybody on the show? Do you kind of have that really? Because sometimes the cast members do.
Yeah, I think from the first season, actually, Michael and Juliana, we haven't hung out with them really since COVID. But we were actually hanging out and heading down to Greenwich some and being with the whole family, you know,
Yeah,
the whole family.
and definitely we do chat. Some of us, you know, I chat with Andrea sometimes, and chat with Angela and them, and Asuelu. Like, just say hi, how you doing? You know, it's kind of cool. You know, I think we're all in this together, and we're seeing ourselves on TV drunk and doing all sorts of crazy things and swearing at each other and fighting and running away and crying. And so it's just like, hey, we're all in the same boat. Look at us.
There's show that what's it called, the Pillow Talk, which is humorous, but I always say, God, if they were talking about me every week, I'd be like, Is it something that you just go, it's part of the job, or is there a particular cast where you're like, okay, back off?
I think it's both.
Right. That's
You're
the human
watching it
answer.
and you're like, oh, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh, okay, it's the job. Like,
Yeah, I mean, because you're not going to be on Pillow Talk if you ain't got anything to say. You know what I'm saying? So you have to step on a little bit toes in this industry, I believe, to kind of, you know, get the ball rolling. But other than that, I think it's quite funny sometimes, you know, they just try and make whatever comes out of their mouth, and then, yeah, I suppose it's quite funny.
It is. Well, I'm rooting for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on our show, and I hope you guys come back. I wish you so much love and success. 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Sundays at 8 o'clock on TLC. Tania, Syngin, much love to you. Good vibrations. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
A pleasure.
Hi, it's Michelle from the Jenny McCarthy Show. Remember me? You know what we learned this week? We learned that Jenny hates porta potties. Who knew? Well, we do because of this next clip. Take a look.
I've been going for walks with my girlfriend in the neighborhood by the river. And I was like, I gotta pee. Like, I just gotta do it. And it's a bike route it's got a lot of heavy traffic. I'm like, I just gotta do it. So I made her, because she's kind of sexy and wears sexy jogging clothes, do sexy stretching on the path while I went into the bush. And it worked because everyone checked her out. No one saw me popping a squat in the bush. But at this age, when you gotta pee, you gotta pee. Because you surely can't run and pee. I mean, run and hold it. There's no way.
Yeah,
Guys have a little bit easier.
I mean, for me, my second most sensitive spot, I'm glad that we're talking about this because it needs to be addressed, but my second most sensitive spot is my bladder. And when I go running, if I feel like I have a little in there, I have to get it out immediately. It's all I can think about. So when I did the Chicago Marathon and I was drinking too much water, and you looked at my stats and it looked like rolling hills up and down, up and down. Like I run, stop to pee, drink water. Run, stop to pee, drink water.
No.
And, yeah.
Didn't you just pee in your pants as you went? Don't a lot of people just pee as they run? No?
No, that takes too much body control. I don't think I have that. I don't have that amount of focus. Michelle, can you do that?
I've never peed myself, but I also stopped maybe once on the Chicago Marathon route. So I'm a better person than you, basically. Congrats. We made it through. You and me. I had fun. I hope you did too. And do you want to continue having fun? Good. I can tell you where to go. Do you know SiriusXM? You can subscribe. It's great. And you know what else? You can have Jenny daily in your pocket. You just put her in your pocket, listen in your ears on channel 109. That's Stars, channel 109, or on demand. Whatever the fuck you want to do it. I apologize for swearing, but you're going to hear a lot more swearing on the Jenny McCarthy Show. So if that's not your gig, I get it. Do you like YouTube? Who doesn't like YouTube? Rate us, subscribe, do what you do. What an experiment. A social experiment.